Hello and welcome to the Law Lab YouTube channel. Here we dissect and unpack everything legal. As usual, my name is Aaron Asiedu Enchi. This is one of the conversations we've taken our time to look at to address the social issues that affect our day-to-day activities. I believe that as a man, as a woman, as you age on, you would want to purchase a land, build a property, or do any other thing you want to actually do on the land. But the point is, say you've left your village, you've left your town, you've left your homes from wherever you are coming from and you are in Accra. If you want to buy a land in Accra, specifically within the jurisdiction of the Osu Stool, today we are here for you, and this is the right place for you. Today we are here with Solomon Kwate Korte Esquire. He's a lawyer. In fact, the Esquire should say, Chief, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Law Lab.
Thank you very much.
I hope you are doing well.
I'm doing good by His grace.
So today you are going to help us appreciate if anyone wants to buy a land within the jurisdiction of the Osu Stool Land, how the person needs to go by in the rightful manner, so that the person does not have any issue with a land guard or any second buyer, or the person will even come and say that this land has already been sold to me, amongst others. But before we move ahead, I would want you to know that this video or this conversation is proudly sponsored by Vian's Groceries. Vian's Groceries. They are very affordable. You can enter, you can contact them. Their flyer is on the screen, and you can find them on the Paraku Boundary Road in Dome. So, Counsel, welcome again.
Thank you very much.
I hope you are prepared for us today.
I'm well prepared.
Well, I believe that the biggest thing that affects any young man who's set to actually live his life and make some ends meet out of it in Accra, whether the person be a man or a woman, the person intends to buy a land and develop a property on. Now, let's to say now we have organizations or real estate organizations that build and sell those things. But aside that, if you want to purchase a land, it becomes a border. But before we move in, I believe that Tufo and Attorney General, you've read that case. So AJSC makes us understand that every constitutional provision we see has its letter and it equally has its provision. Its spirit, sorry. The spirit talks about the history of the people or why the provision was even placed in the constitution. So I would want to appreciate in a very limited sense the history of the Osu people, because we get to hear of Osu, La, and all other families, or how do I call it, jurisdictions within the Greater Accra Precinct. So when we say the Osu people, who are you?
Good. Osu, to be specific, is a paramountcy on its own.
Okay.
Osu is not under any other traditional area, so to speak. Until 2012, all the traditional areas were brought together under one umbrella. So we have the Gamashin leading us.
Okay.
So before 2012, Osu was a division. But in 2012, paramountcy was restored. Now, the restoration of paramountcy only means that Osu was independent so many years ago before they decided to come together. So if paramountcy has been restored in 2012, Osu became independent and the paramountcy on its own. Likewise, La. Likewise, Teshin. Likewise, Nongwa. Likewise, Tema. So all these traditional areas are on their own. And they operate single-handedly. They have their leaders. So for us, we have the Osu Manche.
Okay.
If you go to La, they have the La Manche. If you go to Teshin, they have the Teshin Manche. They are all separate from the Gamashi Manche.
Okay.
So the picture that has been painted so far is that the Gamashi Manche is the overlord of the entire Ghana land. Okay. It is not true. Gamashi is different from Ga. So Gamashi has its own paramountcy. Osu has its own paramountcy, and the rest.
Okay, but how was it restored? How was it restored?
It was restored via a government instrument.
Okay.
Yes. So it wasn't just word of mouth restoration. It was done by an instrument in 2012. So thereafter, Osu became a paramountcy. We were doing whatever we have to do. So Osu got its paramountcy under the leadership of Ni Okwe Kinka Dowona the Sixth.
Kaize. Ni Okwe.
Ni Okwe Kinka Dowona the Sixth.
Okay.
He's now late.
Okay.
Osu got his paramountcy under him. So that is how come Osu became independent from Gamashi. Now, having brought New Kinka Dowona the Sixth into the discussion, I think it is proper to let viewers or listeners understand the dynamics when it comes to ascending to the throne, the Osu Stool.
I would come there. In fact, that was actually my next question. Because when you go to the Ashanti region, the proper family to ascend the Otunfo's throne is the Oyoko family.
Yeah.
So we know that the Oyoko people are the heir apparent to the throne. Now, when you talk of the Osu paramountcy, I believe that there are a lot of families. Reason I want us to understand this proper is that anytime a non-Ga is set to buy a land in the jurisdiction of Accra or in the jurisdiction of any of the Osu, in fact, specifically in the Osu Stool jurisdiction, that person must know that he is actually dealing with the appropriate person, or the person should come from the appropriate family of which he must deal with. So, is there a specific family that ascends to the throne of the Osu Stool?
Exactly so. There are two specific families.
Okay.
So when you come to Osu, before someone ascends to the throne, the person should hail from the Owowe royal family. Owowe royal family, which is the principal ruling house. And then you go to the Dowonawe royal family, where the late Diokwe Kinka was installed from. So, Owowe and Dowonawe.
The way should mean family, right?
The way should means, usually the way is house.
Okay.
Like the Krobos to say, me and Wemi means he's going to the house. So, the Owo house, way, and then the Dowona house. These two houses are the houses that alternate in terms of who ascends to the throne. So after the demise of Ni Okwe Kinka Dowona the Sixth, the Osu Kinka Wijase, which is the kingmakers, led by Ni Saban Achen the Seventh, sent a letter or notice to the Owowe royal house that the stool has become vacant.
Okay.
You have to produce someone to ascend to the throne. That was, I don't want to go deep into that. That was done properly, duly done, and then the person was installed. I don't want to mention the person's name for legal reasons.
Okay.
Yes, the person was installed, and in the appropriate time, the person will come to the limelight, and everyone will know the person.
So the person has been installed. But there is some legal...
There are some legal battles we have to fight in terms of that.
Now, you've made us understand the fact that we have the Osu Stool, which is a paramountcy. We have the Lastu, which is also a paramountcy, Fishi, Nungwa, Tema, and amongst others. I would want to appreciate, because you are the stool secretary for the Osu Stool, what is the jurisdiction? Where is the boundary? So that I get to know that this area that I'm going to buy a land from belongs or is within the jurisdiction of the Osu Stool.
Good. So what happens is that if we take it from the southern part,
okay,
so the southwestern part, we share boundary with Gamashi.
Gamashi.
Yes.
When you say Gamashi, I'm just.
I don't want to go deep into, because if I want to go deep into Gamashi, I will be breaking the Gamashi into pieces.
Okay.
And then you would know where the exact Gamashi clan or quarter that we share boundary
So
with.
you are trying to lump it together.
Yes, I'm
lumping.
lumping.
That will be fine for the conversation.
I'm lumping the Gamashi together. Now, when you get to Art Center, there is a river there. In the olden days, it used to be a river. But present day Ghana, anybody that sees that river thinks that it is a gutter.
Okay.
And then that river has a name. It is a god. It's a lesser god that our forefathers used to, I feel our forefathers worship, and now the present day Osu people also worship that particular river. It is called Ododokwen.
Ododokwen.
Yes.
Is that the
around the Art Center area there. I can't give the specific location.
Okay.
It will make the discussion complex. And then on the south, eastern part, we have just at under the wall of the La General Hospital. Under the wall, there is what some people describe as a gutter. There is a gutter there. Another gutter again.
Well, but you've left your rivers to become gutters.
But actually, it is not a gutter. It is a river.
Okay.
That gutter is called Ubenesu.
Ubenesu.
Yes, and that is where we share boundary with the
La people.
And then it goes through where the La General Hospital is. There is a road that leads to Laboni.
Yes.
On the right side across the street is La. And then the left side,
ring road. Are you talking about
the ring road?
Okay.
The left side is Osu.
Okay.
And then it goes into the Laboni Secondary School. Where the Laboni Secondary School is, the right side is La. And then the left side is Osu, where you have the Osu Children's Home.
Okay.
It runs through cantonment, even to part of where we call the Burma camp, where the overhead is. There is a tunnel there that differentiates Osu and La. So it goes through part of Legon. You have Nima, Mamobi, part of Kokomlimle, Achimota, all those areas to extremely to under the bridge of Ayimensa.
Wow.
Osu is very big.
Is it the biggest amongst all the stools in Greater Accra?
I stand to be corrected. I cannot say it is the biggest, but for now, because of the description I've given, I may say it is the biggest.
You ended up saying it is.
Yes, it is the biggest. So we Nima, Mamobi, Hacho, Papao. Papao is now Papao. Sorry, then Papao is now Westland.
Okay.
What we call Westland, yes. And I have evidence of documents that the then Osu Mancheni Notowo, the third, alienated to some people.
Oh, for even when you type on Yango, when you stay around, I stay around Westland, so you get to see different written Papao.
Papao, yes. So that is the actual name. So Abokobi, all those areas.
So Dome is part of
Dome, part of Dome will be part of Osu.
Okay.
But I can't say exactly.
Okay.
So that is how far or the extent of the Osu jurisdiction.
Okay. So if I'm getting you clear, the families are the Uwe and the Dounawe.
So the families that are sent to the throne.
So there are other families, but they do not ascend to the
Exactly. There are other, we have 4 principal houses.
Okay.
For instance, we have the Adupono. Adupono is a family. So the Jase, the kingmakers, is a constitution of the heads of families of these 4 principal houses or principal families.
Okay.
The heads of families of these 4 principal families. So, for instance, the Adupono, their head of family is the representative of the family in the Jase. Fortunately for the Adupono family, they also they have the right to install the leader of the Kinkawe Jase, which is the Jase Chair.
Okay.
And the current Jase Chair is Ni Saban Achen the 7th. He was the one that installed the late Neokwe Kinka, the owner, the Sith. And he's the same person that installed the new chief that we've installed after the demise of Neokwe Kinka, the owner, the Sith. And then we have the Odate Sronwe. Their head of family also is a member of the Kinkawe Jase. Then we have Ajoatewe. Their head of family is a member of the Kinkawe Jase. However, the head of family of Ajoate has been suspended from the Osu Kinkawe Jase for subversive reasons.
Well, I don't want to go.
We don't want to go there. Good. And then we have the final one is the Tainowe.
Okay.
That's also their head of family is also a member of the Osu Kinkawe Jase. He has also been suspended.
I see. Then suspension galore. I don't want to go into that, but that has been some very good history.
Yeah.
Now, to the main reason, you see, when you learn the law, my sister Risa Irisiwonia, who is a member of our team, has taken us through the titles as to the types of interest in a land.
Yeah.
The types of interest, being the allodia, being the highest, usufructuary, and customary law, tenancy, amongst others. With regards to the lands, the land in the Osu jurisdiction, Osu Stool jurisdiction, that you've actually taken time to explain or describe to us, who has the allodia title? Is it the families or the stool? When I say allodia title, for the purpose of our viewers, meaning who has the highest interest in the land, who therefore has the authority to alienate the said land to other people who are not even non-family members, amongst others.
Good. So the stool actually is the allodia title owners of the land.
Of the entire Osu?
Of the entire Osu land.
Wow.
However, I'll take you back a little bit. Osu is divided into 4 different quarters.
Okay.
We have the Kinkawe. The Kinkawe quarter installs the Osu Manche. We have Ashanti. The Ashanti quarter installs the Mankralo and installs the Wulomo. We have Alata. They install the Alata Manche. And then we have Aneho, or Anoho. We call it Anoho here. These 4 quarters.
For the Alata, I've heard it from the current MD of DVLA.
Yes.
Oh, he has this name. I've forgotten the name.
Logas.
Yes. He likes mentioning Osu Alata.
Yeah, he's from Osu Alata.
I am sure every 30 seconds he mentions that name. He's so proud of it.
He's from Osu Alata.
Okay.
God bless him for making Osu Alata proud. Okay. My maternal family is from Osu Alata. Okay. So I also hail from Osu Alata. But my paternal family is from the Osu Kinkawe. Okay. Yes. So these 4 quarters. Then Osu has villages, has outskirts lands, and then all those. Now, people from these quarters were sent to these areas to go and be caretakers of, for the want of a better word, caretakers of these village lands. So for that reason, they got the opportunity to farm on those lands. So at the time, they had the opportunity to also alienate, until 1960, they had the opportunity to also alienate these lands. But they did it with the consent and concurrence of the Manche at the time.
Okay.
So though you are taking care of the land, you could not alienate the land. So it became something like a family land, so to speak, or a quarter land, so to speak. Along the line, these people that were sent to these areas to manage the place began to say that the land is a quarter land, so I can sell it even without the consent and concurrence of the Osu Manche. And then I'll give you the citation to that particular case I'm referring to. Our popular 1960 judgment.
Okay.
And there, quarter land was defined, and all the Supreme Court defined all those things and said that it is only the Osu Manche who has a right to alienate those lands.
Okay.
Because a quarter head has gone to sell the land to somebody. And it became a matter of litigation. And the rightful person who has to sell the land came into contention, and the court has to decide, and it was decided. So, for in the interest of peace, what we do now is that.
So the court decided that the stool has alludia title of all the Osu land.
Exactly.
The stool has the alludia title.
Yes.
That is what you are saying.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So now, there are instances where people go to Lands Commission to register land. I have a perfect example in my office as I speak to you.
Okay.
People go to Lands Commission, land that was sold so many years ago. They are trying to do registration now. And the Lands Commission wrote to the people and told them that come and see the Osu Stool.
Okay.
Because the person who alienated the land to them is not the right person to alienate the land.
So even the alienation happened before 1960. Even if it happened before 1960, you still have to come to the Osu Stool.
Osu Stool, if you go to Lands Commission and you really want to do proper registration, genuine one, when you take your document there, they will refer you to the Osu Stool.
The genuine one.
Genuine one. They will take you to they will refer you to the Osu Stool. Okay. You agree with what I'm saying?
Okay.
There are people who have land title that they are questionable.
Yes, it's defective.
That's why I'm saying that genuine one.
But the point here is that if the stool is the one who has alludia title, I believe if viewers watch a recent video on interest in land, you will get to know that families can equally have usufructuary interest. That is the second.
Exactly.
But those who have usufructuary interest can still alienate.
Good. Indeed. I would say that.
So what is the practice?
Our forefathers, our predecessors, they were very wise and very smart. There are certain lands that were even given as freehold.
Okay.
But in their wisdom, as part of their conditions, they placed a clause in there that in as much as you have been given freehold interest in the land, that you can sell it. In future, if you want to sell it, you cannot sell it without the stool. Where one of the documents I saw, 30% has been quoted. That if you are selling the land, you ought to sell it with the consent and concurrence of the stool. And then make sure that after the sale, the stool has 30% share.
Even though it is a freehold?
Yes.
But for the purpose of our viewers, what do you mean by freehold?
Freehold means that the land has been given to you. And whoever gave the land to you does not have any reversionary interest.
So meaning he cannot come again to dictate any pace?
No.
But they were still doing it in it. So it wasn't a freehold anyway.
Okay. So I would take it this way. You see, what I envisage that our forebears did, the stool, activities of the stool has to be run. Again, the land was not given to you to alienate. It was given to you for your private use.
Okay.
So if you think that you're no longer interested and you want to, let's say, lease it out, it wasn't given to you for commercial purpose.
Okay.
So if you are changing it into a commercial purpose for you to get something, then I believe it is only fair
for the stool to get
the stool to also get something. Exactly.
Well, so I get it. I want the current practice. The stool has a alludia title, which is correct. Yes. You've established that.
Yes.
Families do have usufructuary interest, meaning they have the second highest authority in the land they occupy.
Yeah.
So say if you've given the cantonment land, let me use this for an example. You've given it to the Osualata people. That is the Osualata family or quarter.
Yeah.
And they want to alienate any land at cantonment. They must come back to the stool to seek the consent and concurrence of the stool before they can alienate.
Exactly so.
Okay. So any sale, whether you are the land is a family land or it is the stool land in that particular sense, since the stool has that alludia title and the stool has given the family a portion to stay on, all that we are saying that no matter the sale, whether it's from the family or the stool, you must still have the stool's blessing, its consent and concurrence before.
Exactly so.
Very well.
So the reason is that even if you think you outsmart the stool, you can outsmart the stool. Take possession, do whatever you want to do. Just start registration. When you start registration, you'll be brought back.
Then your payment will be double.
Not really double. Let's not.
But you will not pay the normal price.
You will not, exactly.
You go higher.
No, you may not go higher depending on who sold it to you.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a case to case.
A case to case basis or case by case basis.
But Stool Secretary, Council, I want to understand this. Aaron, I see it entry. I've gotten money.
Yeah.
I want to buy land from the jurisdiction of the stool or Osu Stool. What should I do? What is expected of me to do?
Good. That is good. Now, you see the land you want to buy it. Maybe, let's take it, Papao.
The Westland area.
Westland area.
Okay.
You've seen the land you want to buy. You as a person, you see, let me put this on record. If you are watching this video and you want to buy a land, don't present yourself to your vendor as being desperate. Immediately, your vendor sees that you are desperate, he or she will take advantage of you.
The vendor is the one selling.
The one selling.
Okay.
Again, when you are buying a land in these prime areas, let's take it that the land is going to cost you 2 million Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Engaging the services of a lawyer to assist you through the transaction may cost you, let's say, 5% or 7% or 10%, maximum 15% of the total amount of the land.
So if you have 2 million Ghana cedis, you should be ready to at least give out 300,000 to a lawyer.
Exactly. Maximum. Okay. So that the lawyer would assist you through the process to be able to get a genuine land.
So here on Law Lab, we say that do not leave all your matters to God. Take some to your lawyer.
Exactly.
Your lawyer must eat.
Your lawyer must also eat. Now, I'm not saying this because I'm a lawyer.
Okay.
But you see, the present situation that buyers find themselves in is very pathetic.
Okay.
You see somebody who say, I've lost, let's say, 500,000 USD to somebody who claimed to be a vendor. You could have averted this particular loss. This is a loss that you could have just minimized. So,
or even,
so to speak,
even prevented.
Or even prevented.
If you had contacted
I'm saying minimize because
even
before you make payment, the lawyer will enter into a contract of sale with the vendor.
Okay.
All monies will not be paid. You are shown a land, $500,000, then pack, you count the money, you give it out. Wow. A lawyer will say, no, I'm going to pay you, let's say, in 6 installments. And I want these things. At the time we achieve this, I'll pay you this percentage. When we achieve this, I'll pay you this percentage. So by the time even the lawyer realizes that the land does not belong to the vendor, maybe we've paid just 2% of the total amount.
2%.
Or let's say 10%.
Okay.
And you are saved a chunk of the money.
So procuring the services of a lawyer is sine qua non.
Yes.
You must get it.
You must get it.
It's a kukrumuti and sound.
I've been doing it. So,
cancel.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you need to engage the service of a lawyer.
That's right.
And the lawyer will do due diligence.
Okay. What do you mean by due diligence?
Good. For instance, I've seen a land somewhere in Papao, Westland, and I want to buy. Or maybe someone I've seen a land in Papao and he or she wants to buy, and the person comes to contact me. When the person comes to contact me, the first thing I will do, within the remit of the amount I've charged, the first thing to conduct a search.
Okay.
Whatever information the search brings, all those lands there.
Where do you conduct the search?
Lands Commission.
Okay.
Sometimes you can even come to the customary land secretariat, the Osu customary land secretariat, where you can conduct a search.
You pay something for the search?
Oh, come on, my brother. You have to pay something for it.
For people to go and pull files? And
Yes. And there has been instances people come to conduct search, and then after the search inures to the benefit of the stool. That is where I discovered that the stool is entitled to 30% of the total transaction.
Okay.
We got it from the mother document.
Okay.
Yes. So if we conduct the search and then the information that the search gives us, we follow it. Maybe there are areas we have to go to, get information. And all this information, you the buyer, you don't have time for it. So for instance, we go and look for the mother document. And the person who is going to sell to you says that it is their family land. But upon retrieving the mother document, the document says that it was given to a certain family as a freehold, which should not be alienated to anybody. They will not tell you this. And you go ahead, pay money to them.
Counsel, let's put the conversation in context.
Good.
I asked that if I am to purchase a land within the present or jurisdiction of the Osu Stool Land, he said the first thing I need to do is to get the services of a lawyer.
Exactly.
And the lawyer will do due diligence.
Exactly.
And from the structure, you said that the first stage of the due diligence is the search.
It's to conduct a search.
Good. And the search should give us a certain information
Good.
as to the title.
Exactly.
Who has the title?
Exactly.
So this title and others will be explained in our next video with another lawyer.
Very
I think
well.
Kingsley Saponakuwa
Very
is preparing to explain all this in detail. So when you mention the technical terms, I'm not really going to bother you on the explanation.
Very well.
So you said the search should bring out the title, who is the actual holder of the title of the property.
And it would even give you the root of title.
The root of title.
Exactly.
For you to ascertain whether the one selling it, the vendor, is the proper person who follows the proper route of title to sell it to you.
Exactly.
You might get people who do not have the proper title to sell to you. Right. I get it.
So after that, then you go to the land.
Okay. So the search basically brings out the root of title.
Yes.
That is all that the search does.
Yes.
So when you get it, now when I get the root of title, I've gotten to know that in the Osu jurisdiction, it can be, what do we call it, a stool land, or though the stool has alluvial land, maybe this one, the stool is in occupation, or this one.
This quarter is in occupation, or this family is
Let me
in
say, so it's
occupation.
either the family or the stool. Where I find out that it is the stool who is in possession or occupation, what would I do?
Okay, so when you find out that it is the stool, then the next thing to do is to look for the Osumanche.
Okay. That is come to the secretariat.
Come to the secretariat.
Okay.
When you get the Osumanche will not even talk to you about the land. Osumanche will direct you to the customary land secretariat.
It's also in this building.
Yes, where you would be taken through the process of buying the land.
So what do you mean by the process? The process, I have my money.
You have your money, indeed.
So
You
let
have
me
your
pay.
money. And if you pay your money, we'll take you to the land to make sure that the land is vacant, like you're saying. If it is vacant, we'll put you into immediate possession.
But the point here is that in Accra, I don't know, I'm yet to see a land which is vacant.
Let me put the vacancy into context. It may be a land that was given to somebody and the person has left it.
Okay.
And probably it has even expired. We have leases within this jurisdiction that have expired. But because of our chieftaincy issues, we've decided to sleep over it. But at the appropriate time, we'll shake ourselves.
Okay.
Exactly. So when it happens that way, we take you there, we put you into immediate possession. By then, you have paid whatever you have to pay. And then another thing is that any Osu Stool land that is sold to you, remember that there has to be 3 signatories on that document. 3.
Which are?
The Osumanche 1. In the absence of the Osumanche, then this is the Jasiche.
Jasiche. So if the Osumanche is not there, so you mentioned the 3.
The 3, good. So the Osumanche, the Osu Mankralo, and the Clote Wulom.
Okay, so it should be the Manche.
The Mankralo.
Mankrado. Is it Mankrado or
You call it Mankrado, but we call it Mankralo. It's the same thing.
Okay.
And then the Wulom.
The Wulom. These three.
These three must sign.
So if there is no Manche, then the Jasiche, the one who installs it,
he will
sign. The Manche will sign.
He will sign.
Okay.
And then if the Mankralo is not there, it is the, what do you call it, the King Ashinte Jasiche.
Okay.
Who will sign?
Because it is the Ashinte quarter that installs the Mankralo. But the Ashinte Jasiche also installs the Wulomo.
Yes.
So what if there is no Wulomo and there is no Jasiche? There is no Mankralo?
There will not be an instance, there may be an instance where there is no Wulomo, there is no Mankralo. We have people who act on their behalf.
Okay.
Yes. And the acting is not verbal acting. As we speak to you, we have the acting Osu Manche.
Okay.
Who is the Clote Wulom.
Okay.
His acting as the Osu Manche is not word of mouth, it is documentary.
Okay.
So as a lawyer, for instance, if I'm buying a land there is no Osu Manche, and they say the Jasiche is going to sign, I need to see something that gives the Jasiche authority to sign.
There must be a document to that effect.
Exactly. So it shouldn't be just word of mouth.
Okay. So the process that goes on with at the customary land secretariat of the Osu Manche is simply you go there, you bring your search to them, they get to know that this land is what you are talking about. They go onto the land to see whether somebody is in possession or not. And if there is no one in possession, they put you into immediate...
You'll be put into immediate possession because you have found it. And we ensure that you work.
Okay.
Yes.
But what if the land, there is a family, a quarter that is in possession of that land and they are alienating to you? What is the process?
So the quarter would have to contact the stool or involve the stool in the transaction.
Okay.
Because there has been instances where the quarter can go ahead and then sell without the knowledge of the stool. That isn't a problem. You can go ahead and do it. But remember that when you get to the registration stage,
they'll bring you back.
You will be brought back. Because the reason is that it is the Osu Manche, the Mankralo, and the Wulomo that must sign the document.
That is a practice, or that was a determination by the 1960s?
No, that has been the norm. That has been the practice.
So if one person is missing out, say we have the Gamanche, you have the...
No, you have the Osu Manche.
Sorry, the Osu Manche. If you have the Osu Manche, you have the Mankralo, and you have Wulomo missing out, it is still not effective.
It's not effective. They must all sign.
Okay.
And recently, a certain document was brought to me. A land that was sold, that is alleged to have been sold during Neo-Kwe King Kandawone's era. I looked at the document. As someone has kept the document for a very long time. So when he brought the document to me and I asked him, have you checked these signatures? He said, yes. I said, these signatures were manufactured. They are not the original people's signature. It was surprised. And I said, yes, I've been dealing with these signatures for a very long time. The people have signed before me. I've seen them sign. So if they didn't sign, I know it. Yes. So even these signatures I'm talking about, you have to be aware. There are things we can't say on set, but there are things going on. Even in the institutions that are supposed to ensure that the right thing is that there are things going on. So you need to be very vigilant and be very careful.
So even if it is a family, one of the family quarters you are buying from, still you need the signatures of these three.
If per the root of title, it has been given to the family, the family will sign for you. That isn't a problem. But you need the consent of the stool.
So
the consent is a letter signed by these three people that we've consented to the sale of this particular land. So usually they go and then they are referred to come and take consent.
The point is, if the quarter is having an issue with these three people, there's that likelihood that even if not all the three, one may unnecessarily withhold his or his signature. It should certainly be a male, right? What then happens in that particular instance?
We have not. I don't think we've witnessed such a thing.
Okay.
You see, usually,
but it's possible.
You see, I'm not saying it's impossible. It is very possible it will happen. Now, these signings, they are no free signings. So.
Okay.
That is why I'm saying that. That's why I'm saying that there has not been an instance where somebody will say, "I will not sign," because before the person appends his signature on the indenture, the money for signing must be down.
Okay.
You understand?
But the point here.
So no matter how offended you are, if the land has been sold, let's say $500,000, and $100,000 is on the table for you to sign, will you say you will not sign?
Is that what you do?
Will you say you will not sign?
But people get too egoistic.
I have not envisaged something like that.
100,000 can buy someone's ego, USD.
You know, it's not a matter of buying somebody's ego, so to speak. Sometimes, like the saying goes, "Aya mancheshin akeni you don't go to the chief's palace with an empty hand." So even when I, the secretary, maybe I'm taking the document to the person who will sign to sign, I'm not supposed to go with an empty hand.
So the secretary must be full.
I tell you, sometimes he will sign. I remember one consent we signed. He will sign. I go and tell them, "Oh, you sign, the people will bring the money." If you tell them the people will bring the money tomorrow, and tomorrow the money doesn't come, you understand what it means. So you see, I'm trying to make you understand that the tendency of somebody not signing, it will be difficult. No matter what happens, the person will append the signature.
Okay. Right, so council as two secretary, oppose remote. Well, I want to understand one thing. Now, I've come to the customary land secretariat, or I've bought it from any of the quarters of the Osu Stool Land. The question I want to ask is that, what would I prove to anyone that this land you've entered me into immediate possession belongs to me?
Okay,
what are the documents?
So it's in two folds.
Okay.
If it's an Osu Stool Land, the Osu Stool will give you an indenture.
Okay.
With the three signatures I earlier mentioned. If it is, let's say, a family land or a quarter give it to you, indeed the quarter will give you an indenture, and then to cement the indenture, then the stool will give you a consent to show that indeed both parties have agreed that this portion of land or this parcel of land should be alienated or has been alienated to you.
So it is the indenture you use to go and register for the title.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it is the same indenture when you get to Lands Commission. And the people that the Lands Commission know are supposed to sign have not signed. They will write to you and tell you that go and see the Osu Stool.
Okay. That is when you have to put something on the table.
No, it is not about putting something on the table. Come and do the right thing.
Come and do the right thing.
Let's put it that way so it doesn't look like you are putting something on the table.
I get
Come and do the right thing.
Sorry for that.
What the process you have been through is defective.
Okay.
So come and make it effective.
Okay. Right. My issue here is that, let's say I'm buying a land at Papao. I've gotten my indenture. The major problem in Accra is that you have your indenture, somebody has an indenture on same land. In some rare or in some circumstances, you have these signatures reflecting on both. What really causes that? Because you get I want us to deal with this as in having two buyers of the same plot of land. And after this, we will deal with laggards and probably we'll bring our conversation for today to an end and look at another conversation some other time.
Double sale or double purchase. Now, if that will happen, I'm not saying that it cannot happen. Admittedly, sometimes it does happen. But when it does happen, it doesn't emanate from the stool.
So you want to
The
vouch?
stool will not sell the same land for two different people.
You would want to vouch for the stool that the stool never does
The
that.
stool will never sell.
Has never done that before.
The stool has never done that.
Stool secretary.
The stool has never. If there is, like I just told you, that there is a document that was brought, and I saw that the signatures have been manufactured.
Okay.
I've been able to tell you that there is a manufactured signature. If I've been able to say that, why wouldn't I be able to vouch for the stool? I've dealt with the stool for so many years.
Okay.
And I know what I'm telling you.
So in such circumstances, say I am having the correct signatures, and say Vincent, our cameraman, is having the defective one. What would the stool do to protect the one who has the correct signature?
So the stool has given you a consent. It would interest you to know that your cameraman, his indenture, he doesn't even have a consent in addition to it. That is what distinguishes the two of you. Because the consent that will be given to you, the people that sign the indenture, they are the same people who will sign the consent for you. And then again, if it so happens, it doesn't lie in the mouth of you and I to declare who is the rightful owner of a certain land that has been sold in terms of double sale. It is the law court that has the jurisdiction.
Okay. So meaning
Now-
the buyer must go to court.
Certainly.
The stool sits at its place.
The stool will not literally sit at its own place and allow you to go to court just like that.
What would the stool do?
There are instances where the other party who says that he's purchased the land, we invite both parties. Come and show us who sold the land to you. And most often than not, they don't come. Because they know that what they have is not the correct thing. And sometimes the stool will take the action on behalf of the purchaser.
Okay.
For that guy who says that his he has bought the land from the stool to come and prove his title.
Okay.
There are times where the purchaser himself or herself will want to go to court. When that happens, we don't stop you. So what happens is that if you want to go to court, the stool comes to testify on your behalf.
Okay.
Yes.
So if the
So we don't leave you just like that to wallow in the quagmire of hopelessness. No.
So if the stool is taking the action on your behalf, who bears the legal cost?
That's a very big question. The legal cost will be borne by both parties.
As in the stool and the
Sometimes,
stool secretary.
it is case by case basis.
Be sincere to us.
I'm being sincere to you.
The stool would go and pay for legal fees for you.
Oh,
the buyer.
when it comes to legal fees, the stool has a lawyer that handles the stool's matters. So if
The lawyer does not work pro bono.
Indeed, the lawyer is not working pro bono. The same way means through which we remunerate our lawyer is the same means we are going to use. So if we have taken money from you, sometimes these people, they come and even the money, they don't pay everything. So if you've not paid everything, then we can go into a negotiation that, okay, let's litigate. When we are done, whatever amount you've spent during the litigation, we subtract it from it. Otherwise, we can share the cost of legal fees and then pay.
Okay.
You understand? Where the stool deems it fit. There are instances where the stool looks at the bigger picture in terms of this matter we are going to commence. Who is going to benefit largely? You understand? Because I can take just this portion of land to court on behalf of the stool. But then the stool is at the end of the day going to benefit in terms of the entire area.
Okay.
So you look at the bigger picture, and then when the action is commenced, or you commence the action on behalf of your purchaser, and then you go and get the judgment you want to get.
Right.
You understand? Where it is necessary that you commence the action, and then the stool will come and testify on your behalf or join the matter.
My question here is that if it is a family a quarter of the family that has given the title to, that has sold the land to, let's say, myself. They sold it to me, and I find another buyer to it. It is the same process, right?
Yes, the family should be able to defend you.
Okay.
Yes, it's very important. Otherwise, you go for your money from the family. Is that not the case?
Sure.
So if they have chopped the money, excuse my language, if they've chopped the money, then they should be able to assist you, take possession or recover possession of the land they sold to you.
Land guard. Land guard is one major issue. I think it is predominant in the greater Accra region. Moving through to Kaswa, it ends over there. When you get to the eastern region, you don't hear of such things that much. But it is so predominant, and I think the Osu Stool jurisdiction to your lands are of no exception. What happens to the extent that now, if the proper method is either to buy from the stool or to buy from a quarter of the Osu Traditional Council or paramountcy, I've gone to either the stool or the family. I've bought it. Why is it that we are having land guards all over? What is the genesis of this? And how do we cure this? And how is the stool, as a stool secretary, what's the pragmatic steps you've taken to cure? I know that at 1036 has now criminalized land guardism and all those things. If you engage in it, it is, what do we call it? It's a criminal offense now. But the point is, people are still doing it. We can't run away from it. And it appears that they are having the blessings of some of you.
I can say on authority that the Osu Stool does not deal with land guards. Now, this issue of land guardism, it has become a canker that we have to uproot from our system. Now, talking about land guard, both the buyer, sometimes, both the buyer and the seller fall foul of this land guard issue. I think that if, in my personal opinion, if we want to take land guard things, operation out of our system, I think that, number one, the law enforcement agencies must be up and doing.
Something that is created by you people, you are taking the burden to them?
You know, it is not, I wouldn't want to admit that it is created by us.
Why wouldn't you?
Because we do not operate with land guard land guard activities.
But you are not able to call your people to order. They are your people.
We don't have land guards. Osu doesn't have land guards.
Most of these land guards are not guards.
We don't have land guards.
But they are your natives.
I don't know any indigene of Osu that probably I grew with in this community that is a land guard. I don't know. I don't want to veer into mentioning certain tribes, but then predominantly, if you are vigilant and you've come into contact with some of these people, you know where they hail from.
Well, since you know where they hail from, what is the practical measures? Because I've gone to buy a land. You know, it is an encumbrance.
So what I'm trying to say is that, you see, the law enforcement agencies must be up and doing. If a law has criminalized the operations of land guards, then the law should be enforced to the latter.
Okay.
I am saying this because some of us or some of these law enforcement agencies are encouraging the operation of these land guard issues.
You know that for a fact?
Yes. Where people are supposed to be prosecuted, they are not prosecuted.
Okay.
Yes.
You've encountered that before?
Yes.
But what did you do as a lawyer?
I wasn't a lawyer then.
But
I was handicapped.
But you were handicapped?
Yes.
But now you're a lawyer, so what is the pragmatic steps you are helping the Osu Stool to take in this regard?
We do not deal with landlords.
So you don't know them?
I don't know who a landlord is.
You cannot determine this person is into that
Yes.
activity. But on this same conversation...
And now, do you know what people are doing? For you not to even identify them as such, they put beads on their hands. So when they are coming, because people cannot distinguish between someone who has been properly installed and someone who is holding himself out as. Now they come as people who have been installed by a stool or whatever. And then they claim they are protecting your land.
So you don't think it is high time the Osu Stool do some good education for the general public to clearly know that when you see this kind of people or these our properly installed chiefs and others, because personally, when I see any guy who has his leg barefooted, has some white cloth, has some beads around the neck and the hand, and having some leaves around the neck, I would qualify that person as a royal. And personally, when I see them passing, I give them their due respect for them to go, because I have so much respect for the royal tradition amongst others. I do not want to interfere in their activities. You don't think that is where you are lagging as a secretariat, that you need to help with the proper education? Because the city is a cosmopolitan city.
You know, indeed, as for education, we can decide to do education. But first of all, let's ask ourselves, if somebody wants to, often than not, you will come to realize that these people who are duped in terms of this sale of lands, they usually would want to use
the back door. Okay.
Those who use the right channel usually do not face these things.
The right channel is procuring the services of a lawyer, the lawyer doing the due diligence to do the search. And we'll get to know whether it is a stool or a family land, move to that person, ensure that he gets the indenture and gets the consent letter too.
Yes.
That is basically it.
That is it.
Okay. That should be quite simple.
Very simple. But you see, because they want it very fast, and let's not forget that if you want it, because they want it very fast, and then the due diligence will keep long, they prefer the very fast, and then they go and hit their faces at the wall.
Okay.
Now, this issue of land guard we are talking about, it is this same people who use the back door. If you come to the stool may charge you X, Y, Z, and he doesn't want to pay that money. So he will go and want to employ the services of other people to do that for him.
What is the XYZ?
XYZ in terms of funding. If you come to the stool and you want to purchase a land, I tell you, maybe usually you are coming to meet the elders sitting down. You don't have to come with empty hand.
Sure.
He doesn't want to bring that thing.
Do you charge digging fee?
Osu, for instance, we don't charge digging fee.
Okay.
We call it customary right. Now, the reason is that in the olden days, when a land is given to you for farming purposes, you don't just wake up and go to the land. Some right has to be performed on the land before you can till the land for the purposes of farming. The
forefathers, they are smart.
Very smart.
They understand systems.
Yes. So this time, we believe strongly that before you touch our land, that customary right has to be performed.
Okay.
It is not just money. We write to you. Now, this is another thing I would like to tell viewers. If you've purchased an Osu land and someone comes to you and tells you that he's taking digging fee, we don't take digging fee.
Okay.
First of all, if we discover that you are developing our land, we send you a notice to bring your documents that permits you to touch that land. When your document comes, and we also do our due diligence and realize that indeed it has been properly or duly alienated to you, we tell you that before you touch the land, you need to perform the customary rites. And the customary rites includes castle bridge, it includes whiskey, it includes ram, and cash, depending on the size of the land.
Is it the gods who got to identify that they want whiskey and Castle Bridge?
That has been the practice
Wow.
in terms of pouring libation.
I see.
The libation will be poured with the castle bridge or snap. But then the whiskey is, we usually call it appreciation to the chief.
The chief.
And then the cash.
Okay.
Yes. So if somebody comes to you with word of mouth without a notice, a letter from the stool, it means that the person just wants to take your money and chop and leave you somewhere.
So how regular do you get people coming to you on land matters?
It is, people do not come. Like I'm saying, it is this backdoor thing. People don't come. We rather send our people when they are walking around or they are moving around and they realize that this particular property is within the jurisdiction and it's being developed. They only come, they tell you, you are developing. Please give us your address. They bring the address to the secretariat. We write to you that you are developing, so we have to have a meeting with you. And some come. Some also do not come because they feel that they have people who are protecting the land for them.
So, I get that. So if that person does not come, what happens?
So if you do not come, sometimes we issue writs. We sue the people where we can place an injunction on the work you are doing.
My last question is that has most of your lands has it been taken over by the government?
Rightly so.
So those areas you cannot alienate.
Those areas, indeed, we cannot alienate. Those areas. And there are other areas where court judgment has been given and same has been released to the Osu Stool.
Okay.
For instance, we have the Osu Manche layout.
Where is that one?
The Osu Manche layout is around the, let me put it simply. There are lands within around the ridge area, certain specific areas that the Osu Manche has been given authority over to sell, or to alienate, or to control. So those ones that is not, that an EI by the government has been, or maybe that has been taken by compulsory acquisition, that one we don't go close to it. The only thing we do about those lands is where compensation has not been paid and we have to pursue the compensation.
I think as we move ahead, it's been a very good conversation and we've learned a lot. If viewers believe that there should be a second edition and a specific question you would want to ask, do not hesitate to leave it within the comment section. When it becomes very necessary that we need to meet Stool Secretary again, we would meet him again for a nice conversation again. Thank you for hosting us.
You're welcome.
Any final words you want to give us?
My final words
to the viewers who are buying, purporting to buy, and purporting to have bought, all those classes of people.
Viewers, if you are buying any land within, for the want of a better word, the Gan traditional area, meaning Gamashi, Osu, La, Teshin, Nungwa, most of our cultures and stuff we do, they interrelate. Some overlap. Don't hesitate to make sure that you do the right thing. Do not go and use the back door. Anytime you think the shorter route is better, you'll find yourself in the middle of the road wanting. I do not want you to want in the middle of the road. Therefore, it is important to, as it were, employ the services of a legal practitioner to assist you in the purchase of your land. I can tell you on authority that whoever is selling the land to you, if the person gets to know that there is a lawyer involved, if the person has any ulterior motive, that person will not go ahead. I can tell you on authority, I can give you, let's say, 95 of 100. That person will not sell the land. That person will begin to give you excuses. And when you are buying any land from anybody, don't be quick to dish out money. Even if you want to do it yourself, don't be quick to dish out money. Pay the money in stages. If the land is not genuine, the person will tell you that he wants the money to be paid outright. But if it is genuine, the person doesn't care how long you pay for the land to be given to you. And then make sure that when you buy the land, you don't just go one sightseeing, you see the land, and then when you go with the seller, you go and pay the seller the money. Let the seller put you into possession. Go and take possession. Go onto the land. Go and start developing the land. Put some sand on the land. How much is sand sold? Now I'm told it's 3,000, 3,500, 4,000. It's better to lose 3,500 than to lose 500,000 USD. Go and put the sand on the land. Go and put, the stones on the land. Let's see if somebody will come. Try to fence the land, all in the name of taking possession, so that you know that the land belongs to you. And when you go for sightseeing and you see sand, stone, something that signifies possession, there is a dwarf wall, there is something that has been done on the land, please, no matter the story the vendor or the seller tells you, don't buy it. It means that someone has already taken possession. And when you try to pay the money, he will take your money, use the money, and when you go to take possession of the land, another person will surface. And that is where the double selling or the double buying comes in. And when you also are buying the land, to curb the issue of landguardism, don't also go and employ the services of somebody, so to speak, to come and protect your land for you. The person may not be identified or named as a land guard, but the activity that the person is engaged in can be described as landguardism or the operations of a land guard, which has been criminalized by our Act 1036. Mm-hmm. I leave you in the hands of God and make sure that you do the right thing. Bye-bye.